Mental health time, week 17. I'm a little bit lazy right now, so I'm in my little Darren Gray tour shirt. This is my favorite one. Look how amazing this is. Look how awesome my shirt is. It's my favorite shirt. I love it very much. And pretty much once I'm done recording this, I'm gonna like skedaddle and do a lot of studying and homework because I need to do those. Because if I don't, that's not good. Not good at all. No bueno. But Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, essentially Monday through Thursday, it's not really important. School stuff. There was a holiday, so I didn't have school Monday. That was fun. That made me very happy. And pretty much did nothing of importance. Like, work is going good, so there's that. And that's all I have to say about that. Just work's going good. And Thursday and also Friday, I had a lengthy conversation with the guy from Facebook that I talked about last week, where I'm like, whether or not I have the shoot, I'm going to have an interesting story. I'll get to that in a bit. Do not worry about that. And Thursday, snowing. It was awesome. And I'm still like a little child when it comes to snow, because I'm like, snow! This is so magical. Let's go outside. And then you go outside and it's like, oh shit, this is cold. Why did I do this? This is a horrible idea. No, back inside. Back inside and stare at the snow while I'm inside and warm and have a fucking cup of hot cocoa. That's a much more better idea than try to fucking go outside. What, am I crazy? I'm insane. What is this? But I still love snow. It just makes me happy. And it also kind of makes me realize that right now I'm in that phase where I essentially repeat the phase in your childhood where you just constantly ask questions. Like, instead of like, why is the sky blue? Where did babies come from? Why is that lady so fat? Is that lady pregnant or just really fat? What is this? What's that? Who are you? Hi, what's going on? What is this? Why? 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 Like, instead of like doing all that, like when you're a child, instead it's like, how do taxes work? What's the difference between a W-2 and a 1040? What do I need? How do I do this? How do I start planning for retirement? What do I do for this? What's my credit limit? How does a credit limit work? Why do I need this? What does this do? What happens when your credit score is like this? What is my credit score? What is this? How do I do stuff for school? How do I do a resume? How do I do this? How do I do that? Like it's all like adult stuff now. I'm not happy about it. But I've already had that discussion before where I'm not happy about the fact that I'm becoming an adult, so I can't just like walk around all the time, my cute little Hello Kitty stuff. But I want to, and I still do. I don't know what that says about me as a human being, but fuck it. Friday and Saturday, spent time with the puppy. Just had the puppy for the weekend. And Saturday, spent time with my nephew and my mom, because my sister and brother-in-law, they're in New Jersey for sort of like an award ceremony, I think it is. And because my brother-in-law does like a lot of dirt bike racing, and he's really good at it. So they went there for that, and they just decided to make like a little weekend trip of it. They come back sometime Sunday morning or afternoon, something like that. And we might do something all together. We haven't decided yet. And pretty much we went to the bookstore and got a couple books, because my nephew is like me when I was little, and he loves the bookstore. It's his favorite store. It makes me very happy, because I have a shit ton of books. I really do. And I was very good today. I only bought 3 books. I normally buy a shit ton. But I got 2 books by John Green, Looking for Alaska, and also The Fault in Our Stars, which I read the first chapter of. I'm fucking addicted to it. Like, I literally like sent it out of the room because I'm like, I cannot read you right now, because it looks like it's gonna be the type of book where I want to finish it in one sitting, and I'll just completely lose track of time. So it'll be like Sunday morning that I realize, oh shit, I've spent all this time reading this book. I need to get my homework done. this is not good. So there's that, and I also got a little manga. I think it's called like an omnibus, where it's like one giant thing. And it's called like 5 centimeters per second, if I remember correctly. I just bought it, but if I remember correctly. But that looks really good. It looks really cute. And I don't know. I just have a shit ton, like movies and books. I have a shit ton of both. I have like over 100 movies and like TV shows. Getting close to 150. I gotta be. And I gotta have like close to 200 in terms of like reading materials, like textbooks that I've wanted to keep because they actually were interesting to me and relevant to my interest. Books on art, books about learning Japanese, books about learning French, books about politics, books about history, books about motherfucking horses, stuff from childhood, stuff from like a bunch, like I have like 30 different series of like manga. Only 4 of them are finished. 2 of those are only like 1 volume. The other 2 are like 4. There's some where I just look at it and I realize just how deep, how quickly you can get in with manga. Because there's like, I have like a giant box and I just kind of stare at it like, what just happened with my life? How did I acquire all this? And then I realized I acquired all of it because I would buy like 4 or 5 of these fucking books a pop, and like in one sitting. And they're like anywhere between $8 to like $15 per fucking volume. It gets expensive really quick. But luckily I'm actually still interested in all the series, so I mean that's a good thing. And most of them have already been finished, so I just need to get the volumes. And they're not, some of them don't have a lot. A couple of them I just kind of look and I'm like, how am I going to find the space to fit all of these volumes? Because some I'm already like 5 novels, 5 volumes deep for one. The other one's like, I have 9. So I kind of feel compelled to fucking finish it, but I think it's like 40 volumes, and it may or may not still be ongoing. I don't know. I'm kind of too scared to check, because I don't want to, like, I don't want to find out and be like, what did I just do? Why? What is this? No. But there's a little rant about that may or may not matter. But we did that. Went to Target. We just got like a couple little stuff. I needed like a toothbrush and a basket for my fans because I have like a shit ton of I have like 23 fans. Like I have silk fans, I have fabric fans, I have paper fans, I have wooden fans, I have a feather fan, I have lace fans. I have all kinds of fans of every type. Like, it's kind of good, but it's kind of bad. I mean, I've been buying them since I was like 12, 13 years old. So, I don't know. I like them. They're pretty. I think they're pretty. Anyway, anything else I've noticed before I talk about the lovely story? Oh, I cleaned the bathroom and I took out the trash. And I normally just take my little bag of trash and I take it to the big bag. I took out the big bag. I feel amazing. I feel like an adult and it feels good. I know I just said, earlier that I don't like the idea of being an adult, but it felt good. I'm a little paradox. But anyway, on to the magical story. Okay, so this guy contacts me on Facebook, which first off I don't book through. It's only like through Model Mayhem and like sometimes through Flickr. I really don't book. I don't use Facebook enough to want to fucking book through it. And like this guy, first off, this guy doesn't have like a fucking portfolio. I'm checking my phone for the messages, by the way. But this guy like books me through Facebook. He takes, first off, I don't see his message because he's not on my friends list. So it doesn't fucking show up. It shows up in that other category that you never check. Everyone knows you never fucking check that category. But regardless. So I don't see the message for like 6 months or something like that. I don't even remember. But I get to his message and I'm like, okay, what do you want to shoot? Da 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 da. Some of the boring questions. He takes like months to fucking answer me on this shit. And it's kind of like it got so frustrating that I eventually was like, okay, you know what? Here's all the questions that I asked that I require to have answered in order to have a shoot. And, once we do that, we can book the shoot. And then exchange phone numbers, all that shit. So he finally did that. And first off, he called like his series like messy little sluts. And he essentially described, I know you're groaning at the idea of that fucking, I'll get to it later. But essentially the story, it sounded like, what he said sounded like glamour, which I don't really do, but, you know, it's paid. And honestly, I have the body for glamour, and I can do it very well, so whatever. But essentially, we discuss all that shit. Then he goes into limits, like what are my limits? If he checked my Facebook page, he would fucking know that already. But I'm like, okay, what's involved with the shoot? What he's saying? It sounds like standard glamour, eye candy, that kind of thing. Then he says, question, where do you stand on the interaction and involvement with other erotic elements in the shot, such as breast, a butt, or a schlong? He fucking said the word schlong. Who the fuck says the word schlong? Can I just rant about that for like 2 seconds? Why? He could say breast and butt, but he can't say the fucking word penis. What the fuck? But anyway, that for some reason that made my blood fucking boil. I was really offended by that. Yeah, but I pretty much was like, you know, essentially like, what do you mean by that? My knowledge was that I'm being hired to do a glamour shoot. I don't do anything pornographic. I'm hoping that this is a glamour shoot. You aren't trying to get something we didn't agree to. Why wasn't this brought up sooner? And he's like, I'm evolving my ideas. You're doing the same thing, but it's a slightly out of focus backdrop. And I'm not asking you to have penetrating sex on camera. Like, that's the only thing that's erotic. The only thing that's considered erotic or pornographic is like actual penetrating sex. It's like, I'm not asking you to shoot hackneyed amateur pornography. Well, first off, I cannot find this motherfucker's portfolio. Either he doesn't have it online, or he uses like some fucking pseudonym that he didn't contact me through. I can't find this motherfucker's work. So I mean, I'll get to that in a second, but So I'm like, okay, well, you know, figure out what your idea is, then get back to me. We still have time. And he has to send picture mail, and I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. Sometimes it doesn't register, but try sending it. And 2 days later, he's like, I never got a response, too risque for your taste. I never got any fucking picture mail, so I'm like, I didn't see it. What did you send? And he says it was point of view shots of a man's appendage with a wanting, desiring woman gyrating, almost salivating in the background. That sounds like fucking porn! Does it not? And like, I pretty much was like, that's too close to erotic, pornographic work for my taste. It should be done without that. He's like, you're not willing to take any creative risk for me? Surely you understand how powerful the medium can be. And it's like, if you looked at my Model Mayhem page, which I'm assuming you didn't because you contacted me through Facebook, you would have already known my limits. I don't choose to have any of that work in mine or anyone else's portfolios. I've seen others do the genre justice. I have no desire to be involved in erotic work. Please don't ask me again about that. I wish you brought it up sooner. If you no longer wish to shoot, that's fine by me. And day before the shoot, I'm like, I'm assuming you never responded to my last message, that you no longer wanted to shoot. Wish you were more upfront with what you wanted to shoot. Blah, blah, blah. I take creative risk, but I don't find your idea to be one of them. If you want to do a different shoot, here's my business email. It's like, hey, listen, what I wanted you from a model never changed. I gave more thought to the imagery, instead of springing it up on you when you showed up for a shoot. Which, I mean, is kind of good, because if he seriously whipped out his dick at that fucking shoot, I would have torn it off and fucking walked out the door. Because you don't put a fucking penis in a model's face when she doesn't know that there's going to be a penis in her face. I'm not okay with that. Very few people are okay with that. But he's like, it seemed like something I thought you'd be into. I don't know. I thought I saw an erotic girl shoot with you and another woman before I messaged you. I guess that's where my confusion began. Erotic elements felt right with the direction. I now understand erotic work isn't your thing. At the time I had blah 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 blah. I'm like, I don't believe I have any shots like that. On the rare occasions that leads to that, 90% of the shoot's artistic nude. Out of what gets chosen, very few of those shots even pan out properly. Because those, like, whenever that happens, I'm kind of like, it's one of those things where it's like, hey, let's try this. That's how it goes. And to add to that, there is a difference between girl artistic nude that like borders on the erotic and staring at a photographer's penis. Seriously. No. And again, had you viewed my page, you wouldn't know my limits. I'm very curious to what photo you were thinking of. If you can remember it, I'd like to see what you were getting at. And hasn't responded since. But essentially, like, I don't understand. I don't understand how it's like, I don't know. This entire thing just confuses me. It hurts my brain to try to process this shit. Because I'm probably, he's probably thinking of, like, he probably saw a photo, like, of, like, DVJs. But honestly, that's more experimental than anything. It's not even, I wouldn't consider it erotic. I would consider it more along, like, artistic and, like, experimental, like, nudity. It wouldn't even, I wouldn't consider it what most people would consider erotic art. I mean, like, there's a difference between two naked women in a very sort of nice pose, and it looks awesome, and a point of view shot some guy's dick, and I'm in the back. And the thing about, like, he doesn't have a fucking portfolio. Like, I should have known when I couldn't find any of his shit. I should have realized that I shouldn't have even bothered, because here's the thing: a photographer trying to contact you and you can't find their portfolio. That's like those models that have like 5 photos and they're like all shitty cell phone camera quality, but they demand to be paid for every shoot. Oh, and by the way, they don't do nude, so don't even ask. And like, they won't even do like lingerie and fucking swimsuits. Like, they demand full clothed and they demand to be paid for it. It's like that shit. Photographers get pissed off about that shit. We get pissed off about that. If we can't see your work, why the fuck do we want to work with you? Because I swear, some photographers don't fucking understand this because they're behind the camera, so they can just pretend like, oh, I never took that photo, da 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 da. The model can't pretend she's not in the fucking photo. So that, like, there's more risk for the models involved. Because if it's a really bad photo, or if it's an unflattering photo, who gets the shit for it? Us, the model. Photographers don't get the shit for it. And we, like, come on, brah. I mean, it's not, just that entire thing. I lost brain cells as a result of that. Sorry, kitty. Like, that was just interesting as fuck. But I am working at that motherfucker. So, and I got to spend a very lazy Saturday hanging out with my mom and nephew, so I didn't have to worry about that shit because it was scheduled for Saturday. But the upside to the whole me booking stuff again after little winter break, I have a couple stuff booked, like a couple like workshops and stuff booked already. I have a workshop in like April 13th. When it gets closer to that, I'll discuss more about it because it's not entirely, everything's not entirely finalized. But there's that. I have 6 days booked with Nova because Nova is booking stuff for their art classes again. So I have 3 days with one teacher, 3 days with another, and I want to say I have another modeling session for Montgomery College sometime in March or April. I'll have to look at the day again. Or maybe, no, I think it was actually February. But March and April are going to be fucking jam-packed with shit. It's going to be awesome. And I took way too long with this fucking spiel and all that loveliness. So I'm going to see you guys next week.